Welcome,
Woo!
comic readers. This is the House of Nerd Show. I'm Steve, joined by Lauren and Sergio. Say
Hi guys, I'm Lauren. No, I got that wrong.
So, I'm Sergio. I think neon colored art is the greatest thing on earth.
Yeah, I'm Lauren. I love Nightcrawler.
Yeah!
And we're here to talk and give you an advanced review on Everyone Is Tulip, available in comic shops this Wednesday, June 30th.
Mm-hmm.
And it's also available in bookstores in July. Sergio, is there an exact date that we have for that?
July the 15th, guys. It's out in
Ooh.
bookstores. If you don't have a local comic shop in your area, just a couple more weeks and you'll be able to pick up Everyone Is Tulip from Dave Baker. And the artist is Nicole Goux?
Yeah.
Goux? Yeah. Nicole Goux. Yeah, man. Those are the release dates.
Honestly, what a read. I was very hesitant getting into it. I'll give my thoughts in a bit. Lauren, why don't you kick things off?
Yeah, so I share your initial hesitation because I talked about on our show that we do on Sunday mornings. But when I read a comic and there's a lot of social media splashes, like Twitter feeds to read or Instagrams or whatever, that kind of turns me off. I don't like reading that in my comics. So the first thing I saw was that this issue, this trade has a lot of that in it. So first I was put off just by that alone. But I kept chugging it on because, again, just because it puts me off doesn't mean it can't be good and doesn't mean I can't warm up to it, right? And, it's one of those things where this will make you think. This is one of those things that you have to sit on. It's not something that most people will have an immediate feeling on afterwards. Once you read the entire thing, I don't think many will love it after they read it, and I don't think many will hate it immediately either. It's one of those things where, you go to a movie theater, you watch a movie with your friend, afterwards your friend's like, so what'd you think of it? Did you love it, hate it? And you're kind of just like, I got no idea because I have to think on this. And that's a good thing. We need more stuff that just makes us sit and think. I like that it challenges me in that way. So even though I was hesitant with it and it was a little tougher for me to get through just because there's so heavy social media stuff, it was worth it. And I'm glad I stuck it out.
Awesome.
Yeah. Sergio, what about for you?
Yeah, you know what? I share a lot of Lauren's sentiments there. I started reading this and it's typically not I could tell fairly quickly, typically not something I would read.
Yeah, there's no horror elements to this book.
No horror elements.
Let's just put that out there. If you're a horror fan and you're expecting horror, Everyone Is Tulip is not the book for that.
And it doesn't have your neon colors palette. It has a pastel palette, Sergio, for the coloring.
On the pastel color palette, I absolutely love. You guys know I'm a sucker for that.
It's very beautiful.
So yeah, no horror. It's not a dystopian, post-apocalyptic joke. We can tell you that.
It's a current apocalyptic.
Yeah. Yeah, this book, honestly, it left me thinking and just a lot of, I guess, deep themes in here, touching on some different subject matters. The first and foremost for me, I think what Everyone Is Tulip is about is it's a statement piece on the pursuit of art, on the pursuit of it's about the struggling artist. What does it take to become a successful artist? What are you willing to sacrifice? Are you willing to sacrifice your own identity? Things like that. So
and should you have to be an artist? I think that's another thing, right? Because I hear all the time it's kind of like the illusion of hard work in our country, right? The upper class tells the lower class in America, specifically in other countries, hey, if you work hard, you can be as successful as we are. But then there are so many people that are actually lower class and everything, they work their asses off and they still can't move up because there's so much more than just hard work. And so this is definitely one of those things where it's like, oh, well, you sacrificed everything, you did what you're supposed to do, and yet how are you still not happy? And yeah, I agree. Great commentary on it for sure.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of a take on Hollywood too. I know we've seen a lot of things in media, whether it's movies or books or what have you, that kind of focus a lens on L.A., Hollywood, that whole type of atmosphere. How it's supposed to be like this big different beast from everywhere else, and it just it eats you up and it spits you out if you're not strong enough. Like strong enough is what they say, right? So it deals with those themes too. Is like what Sergio said. Like how willing are you to go to be famous, to be popular? And what does that mean now in like an age of social media where there's Twitter, Facebook, Instagram,
Yeah.
Snapchat, TikTok? What does it mean to really be famous?
And successful. What is success? And even though this book is set in LA and in Hollywood, that scene, um, it applies to just I think artists and creatives everywhere, and not just artists and creatives, but because this book does touch on social media. We're all attached to social media. We're all attached to Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that stuff. So your everyday person, this story is talking to us as well, on our over reliance of social media, um,
Yeah,
and these personas that we create, so it's almost
that
a
that's it.
reflection. This art,
Yeah.
we're the artists as well, in a sense. You know fake, create made up usernames, these online personas, the lines are blurred, and this book is touching on that. Where does reality end? Where does art begin? Right.
Yeah. I,
Man.
I really liked how it specifically touched on it talks a lot about like you said, what it means to be famous now. And part of what it means to be famous in today's day is going viral,
Yeah.
right? You can do the weirdest, dumbest thing and you're like, this is so dumb, but let's post it just for kicks. And somehow everybody else thinks it's weird, but it becomes popular. Everybody likes that it's weird. Everybody likes that it makes no sense. It just becomes trendy somehow.
Yeah.
And you become instantly, famous. And a lot of times, like you said, Sergio, it requires that you become that persona. Like, people are known just for, there's that dude on TikTok where all he does is he cooks pasta and he's that
Yeah.
big Italian guy. That's his persona, right?
Or
That's
they
his
have like
thing.
they're like a one-hit wonder or something, right? There's just something that made them viral, and then that person just keeps doing it because that's all
Yeah.
that's all they have.
And everybody keeps eating it up. Like, I mean, that's the thing. Viral makes one hit wonders slightly extinct in a way because yeah, if you do one thing that was weird and funny and you keep doing it in a way that people still like it, you're just doing the same thing over and over again. And so I think it also has commentary for those that do that, right? Because that is an art now, is being viral, is doing stuff like that. And how I'm sure for people that do that, it can get kind of boring. You're put in a box. This is all people want you to do. And you're like, but I want to do more. Like, why
Yeah.
am I in this box now?
It
So Steve,
also it also kind of I
sorry,
just want to say it
yeah.
also kind of touches upon something that has been pretty relevant within the past couple of years.
Mhm.
With stuff like the Me Too movement and females finally coming out and saying that they've been abused in the workplace or they've been used in that way to get a promotion or something like that. And we all know how Hollywood is, right? And I think this book touches upon that theme as well in a what happens when a girl just wants to be creative and to be known, and she could be taken advantage of for that, right?
Well, I think anyone who's it does touch on people in position of powers, and anybody trying, whether you're a female or whoever, trying
Yeah.
to break into an industry, and on some of the dangers and the pitfalls that you can find yourself in. But I think it'll be helpful to our viewers if we can kind of give them a synopsis,
Yeah.
explain what this book is about. Steve, do you want to let everybody know, general plot outline and what to expect from Everyone Is Tulip?
Yeah, very simple plot plot outline. Sorry, girl decides to go to LA because she wants to make something of herself. After years of hard work and doing auditions and doing stuff, something weird happens. She ends up going with it. Things escalate in a way that she was not prepared for, and it all kind of culminates in a way that, like, you just you have to read it, because I don't want to say anything other than that. It's taking a person and putting her into an element that she didn't expect to be in.
Yeah. So she's a struggling artist. Our main character, Becca, is a struggling artist. Excuse me. Um, yeah, she's trying to break into the industry. She ends up becoming a performance artist of sorts, and we
And
follow along. I guess you know what does it take to be a successful artist, right?
and do you even want that success once you get it? You know, because it's one of those things where you're like, yeah, this is what I want. I want to be famous, or I want this big thing for me, right? And then once you get it, you don't know what to do with it, or it's not what you actually thought it was. And I think this book does a good job tackling the gray areas, right? Because even though it's easy in a situation like this to be like, oh, well, she's going to be victimized, they're going to take advantage of her, it's not her fault at all. There are moments where the story examines all sides,
Yeah, she does have a choice
and
in some things.
and yeah, and that's, it's hard to talk about that, right? Especially Steve, you talked on the Me Too stuff. I don't want to put too much emphasis on that with this book,
Right.
because again, this touched on the gray areas, and if you combine that with the Me Too stuff, that's not really great when you examine both sides. That's not helpful, but for the purpose of this book, it does a great job tackling both sides in terms of, hey, you wanted this, you know, how you can't be innocent here completely, you know. So I don't, I would, as a woman, I would not compare it to the Me Too movement exactly based on how it turns out. But yeah, it's so good. It's something that's going to make you think hard, and it's one of those things where you might not know what to feel after you read it, and you'll have to sleep on it. Like Sergio was telling us before, you know, we filmed today, like, you know, he really wanted to sleep on it, you know, before we talked about it.
Yeah. And I guarantee
So
you guys, this book is gonna make you feel a way. At first, you might not sure how it's gonna evoke some kind. It's gonna stir up some emotions. It's gonna get you thinking, get your brain rolling. Like, man, okay, this was some like this is some serious stuff, some deep stuff. It's
yeah.
maybe not what you would typically read, but it's good nonetheless, guys.
Yeah, and I do want to say that there is that just juxtaposition of the fact that it does deal with stuff that, on appearance, doesn't seem all that deep, or doesn't it doesn't seem like you're going to think about it afterwards, especially with the art. Like, we've shown some screens here, the art is absolutely beautiful, but it also seems very innocent with the way the colors are being used, and
Yeah.
it kind of tricks you. Like, it makes you feel like it's comfortable and beautiful and easy, and like, oh, it's like a fluff read, right? It honestly, it tricks your mind into thinking that this isn't going to be as big of a deal as it ends up being by the end of it, when you finish it and you put it down and you're like, I didn't expect that, because it's such a beautiful book, but it has that like air of innocence to it in a way.
Mm.
Yeah, I agree, and it's definitely something that I think everybody should read, just because it does. It isn't something I think. I mean, I'm sure some people read this kind of thing normally, but I don't think many. I think it's a big majority of people that don't. Like, even I don't read stuff like this normally, and so I'm glad we were, one, given the advanced review so we could read it. So thank you to your creators and the publisher. Who publishes this, by the way? I forget. Who published this?
I'm not sure.
Steve, what's on the cover?
Unfortunately.
Well, it doesn't quite show
Oh,
any.
Dark Horse, guys. Dark
That's
Horse.
Dark
what.
Horse. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I was
Dark
thinking.
Horse.
Okay. So Dark Horse published this,
Mhm.
and the creators, you know, shared with us the advanced review. So big thank you and shout out to
Shout out,
them.
thank you, Dave. Yeah,
Yeah, because
man.
it's definitely worth it. Again, I wouldn't have picked it up before. So that's why we really wanted to take the time to tell you guys to pick this up, because it's probably something a lot of you would not normally pick up. But please definitely cop it, pick it up. Let us know how you process it, I guess.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
I'm very curious to hear, some feedback on, from our viewers and other people. Just what did you guys think? Because again, not to rehash, but it might not be something that if you see at your shop, you're gonna normally pick up, but it's not something that you want to skip out on either, guys. Guarantee you, it's gonna kind of just get your brain thinking there, man. And I'm glad
yeah.
glad I read this.
Yeah, and if our words aren't doing justice enough for you, if you're still not convinced, honestly, they have a website, Everyone Is Tulip. I believe it's everyoneistulip.com. You can
Mhm.
you can Google search it. And on their website, they actually do have multiple pages within the chapters that are available for you to just
That's
check out
right.
yourself.
Yeah.
The dialogue is there. You're not going to get spoiled on the whole story, but you will, be given pages just to see like what is the book about, and you can make your own judgments from there. Honestly, I would say just pick it up because
Pick it
I'm
up.
so
You know what?
excited to talk about this.
Go in blind. Honestly, I'm one of those people that I love to read the description of what I'm getting before I read it. I went in
Mhm.
blind to this. Like,
Mhm.
Same.
we got the advanced review and we were like, yeah, absolutely. We'd love to read it. We're going to check it out. And of course, if we like it, we'll talk about, which we did. And we are talking about, right? And I'm so glad I went in blind because if I read the description for this, I'm afraid it would throw me off. Because again, it's not something I normally pick up. So if you would take our word for it, guys, it is fantastic. Definitely need to be picked up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Lauren, for the people who want to hear your individual tastes on what comics you like and dislike, where can they find you on the internet?
Yeah, so I'm on Twitter at friendly NBHDBI, friendly neighborhood bye. I'm on Instagram at friendly neighborhood bye. That's 3 times. Yeah, come bother me. I write reviews for the Wednesday Poll List as well. So if you check out their podcast, the Wednesday Poll List, they're really, really awesome. And yeah, let's talk about this because I need to process it more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Sergio, what about for you? Where can people find you on Twitter and Instagram?
Yeah, buddy. Insert name INC on Twitter, at insert name comics on Instagram, and the House of Nerd Show on Twitter is House of Nerd Show at House of Nerd Show. And I'm sure we'll probably be sharing more thoughts on this, on the socials. Just one of those that it's almost tough to put into words for me personally, guys. So check it out. Find out for yourselves what exactly Everyone Is Tulip is about. Steve, where
Absolutely.
can everybody find you at, buddy?
They can find me on Twitter at Stovepost, and like Sergio said, they can find the show at House of Nerd Show.
Mhm.
And obviously, we are live every Sunday morning at 11 a.m. Eastern Time. So please come check us out.
Yep.
We're always doing something, whether it's talking with creators or playing games with one another, or even just having a general discussion
Yeah.
and reviewing any of the books that we've read for that week.
Yeah.
So Sundays, 11 a.m. Eastern Time, the House of Nerds Show. Check us out.
Yeah. Please like and subscribe, guys. All right. Thank you so much.
Bye.